Hi, Sajeel here, and in this video I'm going to talk about what I wish I knew when I started programming. So if I got a time machine, I would go in the past and teach my younger self not to make those mistakes which I made as a beginner programmer. So I asked on my Instagram, what should I talk about in my upcoming videos? And one of them said their name was Anusha Devarshari. I apologize if I mispronounced. They asked to make a video about the mistakes I made as a beginner programmer. And this video is same for you. So after analyzing those mistakes, you won't make those mistakes and your programming path will become much easier and quicker. The very first thing I wish I knew when I started programming is that coding is worthless. You may be wondering, why are you saying that? But coding is really worthless. When I started programming, I got passionate about learning to code. And that was my mistake. You shouldn't be passionate about learning to code. Coding cannot do anything except solving a problem. That's the purpose of learning to code. Coding is just a tool. Think about it. Coding is just a tool to solve a real life problem, to make your life easy, to make someone else's life easier. Coding is just a tool as you use many tools in your life like hammer or glass or drill machine or a vacuum cleaner. You use them to solve a problem. You don't love those tools. You love the problem they solve. For example, the vacuum cleaner or broom you use to clean your home. You love the cleanliness of the home. You don't love the vacuum cleaner. Hey, why are you laughing? It's not a funny thing. Now, after watching this video, go to your screen and write some code and have a look at it. It's just a combination of text and symbols and nothing more. So you should not love those text and symbols. You should love what the problem they solve, what the problem they're solving. You should love to solve problems, not just coding. Now, I'm not against learning to code. Learn to code, but don't be passionate about learning to code. Passionate about learning to solve a problem. That's the real purpose. And as sooner as you realize that, the better it is while learning to code. When I started programming, I wasn't alert about this thing that coding is worthless. I got passionate about coding and I didn't understand what is the actual purpose of coding. Now you understand and don't think that coding is worth it. The second thing I wish I knew when I started programming is to specialize. Specialize in the one thing. Beginners learn too many languages at once. When I started programming, I learned Ruby on Rails, C, C++, JavaScript, Python, Basic, all the languages at the same time. I learned Django, Flask, React, different frameworks at the same time. There are many languages and many frameworks, many APIs to learn. You have many skills to learn. Learn those all things, but specialize in one thing. Do the thing you are most in love with it. As I'm most in love with Python. I know other languages like JavaScript and C++, but I specialize in Python. I know other frameworks like Flask and React, but I specialize in Django framework. So do those things you are love in with. I feel love in Python, I do Python. I feel love in creating YouTube videos like this and guide beginner programmers. So I create those videos. If I'm not in love with it, I won't create those videos. So here I don't want to express that don't learn too many languages. Learn too many languages, you may use them in future for some different purpose that your specialization cannot do. But specialize in that one thing. The third thing I wish I knew when I started programming is that finding shortcuts is worthless. You should not find shortcuts when you're just starting out to code. I remember I scrolled YouTube and Google websites and Reddit, Quora, Stack Overflow, Medium.com. I used these websites and YouTube to get a shortcut to learn programming. I went to YouTube and searched for how to learn Python language in 5 minutes and how to learn programming overnight. These were so wasting of time. I wasted my time doing that, and I don't want you to waste your time in finding those shortcuts. It doesn't take too much time. Almost 3 to 6 months are required to become a software developer, or even less for a web developer. The fourth thing I wish I knew is the most important of all. and that is to learn research based. That is my greatest regret of learning to code. That is my greatest mistake. I didn't learn research based. When I started programming, that's a very interesting story about my learning Ruby on Rails. So when I started programming, I learned Ruby on Rails just because I liked its name Ruby. I liked the name Ruby and started learning it without considering its scope, its applications, its job opportunities, popularity, or different things like that. You have to research before learning a language or learning any skills or going to any path of programming. You need to research before learning it. So I didn't research before learning Ruby on Rails, and I started learning it, and after learning it for some days, I realized that it's a not good language to learn. It's not very popular. So I just switched to Python because it was popular. And I didn't even research before learning Python. I was fortunate that I selected Python, but I just started learning Python based on its popularity without considering its scope and applications or job opportunities like that. But I'm fortunate that I learned that. Now I have a proper research of learning any language in 2020. If you don't know what language to select in your career, you can comment down below. I would suggest you the best language according to what do you want to do and why you want to do. Just let me know and I would suggest. Tip number 5 is also very important. But before getting to the tip number 5, I want to give you a message. I want to invite you to subscribe this channel and like this video. As sooner I get to the 1000 subscriber milestone, I will start making money through YouTube, and I will improve my videos by buying a webcam, a mic, creating a good studio, improving my lights, and more things. So help me do that. Click that subscribe button and like this video. And I will keep making these kind of videos for you, only for you. The 5th thing I wish I knew when I started programming is that tutorials are worthless. Search on the YouTube. Go for the language you want to get tutorials about. Like you want to get tutorials about Python. You learn Python tutorial. And you will get tons of videos about Python tutorials. Or you can search for any language like JavaScript tutorials. Tons of tutorials. Golang tutorials. Lots of tutorials. You get a lot of tutorials on any language on YouTube. They are even 45 hours long. You get excited by seeing the thumbnail and title of that video. That I can learn Python in just 5 hours. That's super interesting. But it's not super interesting. They are wasting your time. How? It looks like that all tutorials are outlined at the same script. It looks like to me, see 2 to 3 tutorials. They just start from installing an Hello World program and they get end at the creating a calculator or creating a game. That's how the tutorials work. They teach you useless things for hours and you have to learn, and after learning that you say that you have learned Python. But when you go to your laptop and start writing it, you say, I don't know Python. What did he teach to me? What did he teach to me? That's how those tutorials work. It happened to me and I don't want it to happen to you. Don't go to those tutorials. I learned C language through those tutorials, and after learning those tutorials, I realized that I do not know C language. So these were the 5 things I wish I knew when I started programming. Let's meet in the next video next Sunday.